ready, we'll get started in a couple minutes. I'll just start rambling while we wait for 5 o'clock to roll around. And I start my official speech. This is the unofficial speech. So I hope everything is going well for everybody. It's kind of cool to do this. I have been wanting to do something like this for a while, but just takes like a global pandemic to get me to actually try something new. So I hope it goes well. Please give me feedback when it's all over, and let me know what worked, what didn't work, what you want more of, less of, etc. Let's see, 4:59. Okay. We are live from the Berkshires. Those of you who have been keeping up with me personally, I am not in New York City right now. If you didn't know that already, I've been up in the Berkshires now for 3 weeks. Very grateful to have a place like this to escape to. My family's here with me. Everyone's healthy so far. Knock on wood, everything's going well. So I hope everyone else is out there doing well also, wherever you may be, and staying safe and not going completely stir crazy if you're trying to, stay socially distant. At least we have virtual connection that we can turn to. So I think it's time to really start talking about our practice today. So of course it is a very stressful time. So I'm hoping that by coming together and doing this practice today, you will get some stress relief, maybe just taking some time to breathe and move will help you feel better. I hope so. Since I'm not in the room with you, you really should just take everything easy and don't go crazy and push yourself too hard with anything, especially if you haven't had a chance to move around a lot recently. A few props that you might want to have, a few things. They don't have to be official yoga props, but if you have them, you have a couple blocks. Other things that might work or be useful, if you don't have blocks, or even if you do have blocks, you can use a couple big books. I happen to have Traditional French Cooking and Bardlow's Famous Quotations because they are about the same size. Purely coincidental, I'm sure. Or you can also use a chair. And actually, it might be nice for everyone to have a chair nearby, okay? Because there might be times when it'll be more useful to put the hands down on that than blocks, actually. A couple other things you could have. I have an extra yoga mat rolled up. It's a nice prop, folded blanket. I have another folded yoga mat for my knees, a little padding under the knees. What else? I'm just going to chat for another couple minutes in case you need to go find those things around your house. We're not really going to use straps that much. If you have something like a strap, you can always have it handy. It's not a big deal if you don't have one. I don't think you really need one. And then the only other thing I can think to say is I have this round mat, which is really fun to use. And it means I can change direction easily. So I'm not going to be practicing or doing any poses looking straight on towards you. I'm actually going to angle myself on the mat different ways according to what we're doing. So I'm not going to mirror, okay? So if I'm talking about doing the right side, I'm doing my right side and you should do your right side. Or do whatever side you want, but just know that I'm not going to be mirroring because since I'm not facing you directly, it seems like it wouldn't really be useful to you to have me do that. So hopefully you've gathered some things you can use. If you don't have anything, don't worry, you can always improvise. Another couple things you could use if you don't have, say, something like this, you can grab a big pillow or cushion from your couch. So you can always improvise. Hopefully you have everything set up. So let's just come to sit comfortably for a couple breaths together before we do our first pose. So just find any comfortable seat. You can sit on the chair if you want. If that's comfortable for you, go ahead. I'm sitting in Virasana on a block between my feet like this, because for me that is comfortable. It is not comfortable for a lot of people. So just any seated position that allows you to sit up nice and tall. Rest the arms comfortably on your lap. Make sure the arms aren't pulling you forward or in any direction that makes you feel uncentered. You want to have the arms close to you so you can feel centered, and just relax the hands in any position. I'm going to sit here for just a few breaths so you can observe your breath today. No judgment, just observe how it's doing today at the beginning of our practice. Close your eyes if you need to, and just draw your awareness to your breath. Taking that moment to just allow yourself to be really interested in your breath. Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it deep? Is it shallow? Is it in the upper part of your chest, or is it in the lower abdomen, or somewhere in between? Or does it move around? Does it seem to be reaching through your body, or does it seem to be stuck in one area of the body? Without trying to change it, just observe for a few more breaths. And then ever so slowly, just start to lengthen the breath, both the inhale and the exhale, slowing it down, inhaling through the nose, and then exhale out through the mouth. Even make a little sighing sound if that feels natural to you. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Couple more times, moving slowly. Continue. Wonderful. Now, we're going to move into our first pose. It's actually going to be a supine pose, and it's supported fish pose. So if you know what that is, you know what we're going to be going into. If you don't know, just take a look. I'm setting up two props. I'm using blocks. If you don't have blocks, here's where you could use something like a rolled up, like a thick blanket. If you don't have a yoga mat, like a nice, heavy, thick blanket, or a pillow, as long as it's not a huge pillow, something that could go across this way. This is going to be behind your back. And then the second prop could be simply a folded blanket, something like this. You might even want to have it folded up, maybe like this thick to start with, and then you might not need it, you might move it away. So supported fish pose, this is going to be behind the upper back. Okay, so you're going to get your things set up and have them a few inches away from each other. Okay, maybe 5 or 6 inches in between. This is for your head, the farther away one, and this is for your upper back. So in between, your neck is not going to be on anything. Oops. Yes. Okay. So you're going to sit down on the floor, facing away from these props. Start with the knees bent, and just reach back and feel where that prop is. So this first edge of the block, or your prop, whatever it is, that's closer to you, it's going to go right around the middle of your back, okay? So around the bra line, right? We can all imagine where the bra line is, even if we don't wear bras. So you're going to feel that behind you, and come to lie down and see if you can get that to be right around the upper back. Okay, the first edge is around the middle of the back, and then the block goes up where my shoulder blades are. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to keep the head up for a moment. First thing you're going to do is actually tuck the pelvis a little bit. So when you went back, maybe you arched the back a little bit together. You're going to tuck the pelvis underneath. So you're really on the back of the pelvis here, or the sacrum. Okay, and then you're going to get your hands behind your head, and then let the head relax. Okay, so you're supporting the head with the hands now. Take a breath here. You need to adjust anything, go ahead and adjust. And make sure, you guys stay where you are. I'm going to take this layer off. Make sure the block or the prop is not under your lower back, and it is not under your neck. Okay, it's on the upper back. Okay, so from here, you have your head in your hands. You're going to use your hands just gently pulling away to make sure the neck is nice and long and lengthened. And then slowly lower the back of the head down onto your other prop, whether it's a block, a folded blanket, what have you. And then you're just going to rest there for a couple breaths and check out how everything feels. So obviously the chest is being lifted up, the front of the chest is being opened up. So use this opportunity to get some nice big breaths in there. Put that away. Okay. Couple options here if you want to go deeper, okay? First would be the head. If you want to see, maybe you can tilt your head back onto the floor behind you. What you would do is pick up the head again in your hands, hold with one hand and move that prop away, whatever it is, move it away. Again, you're using your hands to pull the head ever so slightly away from you, right? To make sure the neck stays nice and long. And then as you tilt the head back, you're going to come down and see, is that okay on your neck? If not, you just come right back up and put your prop back underneath there. If it feels okay on your neck, you're going to be lowering the top of the head towards the floor. So the chin is tilting up, and the top of the head is going down towards the floor. I'm going to keep my head up so I can talk to you and hopefully you can hear me. Now, what you're going to do is stay there and breathe some more. Now we're opening up the front of the throat as well. And if it feels okay, if you want to try straightening out the legs, push the feet away until the legs are straight, keeping the feet flexed. Okay, so you're not going to be relaxing your legs here. Okay, the legs stay active as you stay in the pose. And then you're just going to stay. You can bring your arms down alongside you. You can reach over the head. Any arm position that feels okay. Might be a little intense on the shoulders to reach up. If it is, you just keep the arms down alongside you. I'm just keeping my head up so I can talk to you, but you're going to keep the head tilted back, or if you prefer, just keep it on the prop behind you. If it feels like that's better for your neck, you just keep the block behind you. You still have that nice opening in the front of the chest, and just take some big breaths in. If possible now, switching to breathing in and out through the nose, both in and out through the nose. Otherwise, really, really filling the lungs and taking a long exhalation each time. Let's do 3 more breaths like this. Now to come out, you're going to bring your hands back behind your head and lift the head up just so it's parallel to the floor. If you straightened out your legs, bend them in again. And then you're going to lift your head using your hands. Okay, so the neck is still kind of relaxed. You're not really using your neck. And you're using your hands to lift the head up to stretch the back of the neck, looking towards your legs. And then finally, you're going to just roll to one side. So put one hand down, you're going to roll to that side and take away the props from behind you. And put them to the side and come right back down onto your back and hug the knees in to your chest. Give them a good squeeze and maybe rock back and forth, side to side a few times. How's everybody doing? Okay, we're going to stay on the back a couple more moments. Starts to get dark in here. I might turn on some more lights, but I think it's okay for now. We're going to do a couple poses still on the back. From here, you're going to let your left leg go and just hug in the right knee. And then lift that right foot up to half happy baby. Okay, so you're hugging the right knee down. You can hold behind the right knee, or you can reach up to the foot. The leg is going out to your right side a little bit. So if I drew a line down from my knee, it would go to the outside of my body. It would hit the floor outside my right ribs, right? You're going to stay like that for a few breaths. You can keep this knee bent or straighten it out. It's going to make the stretch a little more intense. So just take it easy. Couple more breaths. And now notice in half happy baby, my foot is flexed, okay? This is a 90-degree angle. I'm going to keep it like that, and I'm going to keep the ankle straight. I'm not going to do anything side to side with the ankle. It's going to stay nice and straight. I'm going to turn the right knee out to the side and grab that right foot with both hands. If you can't reach the foot, you can still do it holding onto the shin like so. The foot is going to come to the midline, okay? And the right knee is going out to the side. If you can hold on with both hands, just hold around the outer edge of the foot and think of pulling that foot in towards you. If it could come down and come right down onto your sternum. Take a couple more breaths. I'm going to turn on another light. Okay, now we're going to do a little ankle to knee here. So you're going to take that right ankle and cross it over your left knee. So you have to have that left knee bent. And then for a moment, you're just going to push, hook the thumbs right into the hip crease on both sides and push away. Like you're pushing your legs away from you. And make sure your trunk is lengthened out, both sides symmetrical, okay? And feel what that feels like. My left side and my right side are equally long. All right, I'm again keeping the right foot flexed, and I'm going to pick up the left leg, the left foot, to come to my ankle to knee or figure four stretch. Keeping both sides of the trunk equally long. What sometimes happens is the hip on the knee that's coming out to the side, it kind of hikes up because that's going to make the hip stretch easier. So we don't want that to happen, right? We want to keep it long, both sides of the body long. And then here, you can hold on around the left thigh, around the left shin. If you want to, try holding in front of the left kneecap here with the left hand, and with the right hand, gently pushing the inner right knee, opening up the leg a little bit more. Take a couple breaths there. Good. And then uncross, hug both knees in, and then we'll do the other side. So you can release the right foot down. We're going to do a half happy baby with the left leg. Lift the left foot up. You can hold on to the left foot or just behind the knee here. Again, the knee comes out to the side a little bit. Sole of the foot facing the ceiling. The right leg can stay bent, or you can try straightening it out. Check out how that feels. Good. Now, we're going to keep that foot flexed. In other words, at 90 degrees, like so. And the ankle's going to stay straight. And I'm just going to send the left knee out to the side. And the left foot is going to be lined up in line with my midline. Okay, like my sternum. Straight up from there is going to hit that foot. You can always hold on around the shin or the ankle like so. That's perfectly fine. Taking a couple more breaths. And then bend the right knee and place that left ankle on top of the right knee. And then again, you're going to push your legs away, making sure the trunk is long, lengthened on both sides equally. And then we'll come to our figure 4 on this side. Holding around the right thigh or reaching for the right shin. I like to do a two-handed approach, holding on my right hand on the right shin and pushing the left knee away ever so gently. And taking a couple more breaths there. And then slowly releasing, hug both knees in again. And then we're going to come up onto hands and knees. So if you want to just roll to the side, you roll to the side and then come up onto your hands and knees. Again, I'm going to be at an angle to you, so I hope this is helpful for you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to move my things away a little bit. Okay, so hands and knees. I'm going to start with our cow and cat a few times. Arms are vertical, hips over knees. Big inhale, look up, arch the back, tailbone up. And then exhale, cat spine, push the floor away, drop the head, drop the tailbone. Continue a few times. Inhaling for cow, exhaling for cat. Good. Now the next time you go to your cat spine, make sure your feet are pointed and go right back to your child's pose. Stretching the arms out in front, letting the head go. Taking a few breaths here, and this is your good resting pose if you ever need to take a break during class or anytime during our practice today. Or any other resting position that you like. So from here, we're going to come back up to tabletop. Tuck the toes now. We're going to do a floating table for a couple breaths. So let's try 2 to 3 breaths. What a floating table is, you're going to stay in the same body position, engage the core, especially lifting the front of the body up towards the back body, right? And then you're just going to float the knees off the floor, maybe a centimeter. Maybe an inch at the most, okay? Holding everything else steady. And after 2 to 3 breaths, lower right back down. This floating table, okay? So now we're gonna take it into, first we're gonna walk out the legs a little bit. So you're gonna stretch the right leg back, inhale, exhale, bring it forward again, put the knee down. Left leg back, inhale, exhale, put it back down. One more time each side, inhale, straight back, exhale. Inhale, left leg, exhale. Now, we're gonna inhale the right leg back, and on our exhale, we're gonna keep the right leg back and float the left knee up off the floor. And stay for 2 to 3 breaths. So it's a floating half plank. And then put the left knee back down and bring the right knee forward. Take a breath. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, float the right knee up. 2 to 3 breaths. And then bring the left knee forward again. And you can go back to child's pose for a moment. So ideally, we like to breathe in and out through the nose throughout practice. However, sometimes if you're congested or you're just feeling out of breath, you have to take a breath through the mouth. Totally fine. So we're going to do a little variation of what we're just doing with our floating plank. And we're going to take it into a down dog shape a couple times. Don't worry though, it actually is easier when you go to down dog. You'll see. Okay, so you can watch it first, or if you do it along with me, we'll go a couple rounds. So inhale, right leg back. Exhale, float the left knee up. Inhale, push to down dog. Exhale, straighten that left leg up behind you. Inhale, bring it back underneath you. And exhale, back to table. Let's do the left side. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, float the right knee. Inhale, back to down dog. Exhale, straighten the right leg. Inhale, bend that knee again. And exhale, back to table. Let's do it one more round. Inhale, right leg back. Exhale, float the left knee. Inhale, down dog. Exhale, straighten the left leg. Inhale, bend that left knee in again. And exhale, table. Last side. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, float the right knee. Inhale, down dog. Exhale, straighten the right leg. Inhale, curl it in. And exhale, table, and go back to child's pose again. And take a few breaths. Good. Check in with yourself. How's it going? Do you need a little more rest? If you do, take it. Otherwise, we're going to come back up to table once more. Make sure you have plenty of room in front of you. So I'm moving back on my space, in my space a little bit, so more room in front of me now. From table, we're going to go to puppy. Okay? So for puppy pose, you're going to keep the hips back at first and just walk the hands forward from here. And then finally, check out. Can you come down upper body in line with your arms? Pushing back from the heels of the hands, reaching back through the sitting bones. Nice long body position. From here, we're going to transition to forearm plank. So bend the elbows, place the forearms down parallel to each other. Bring the shoulders over the elbows, and then reach the legs back to come to your forearm plank for a couple breaths. Just a couple breaths. We're not going to do a whole minute or anything crazy like that. Okay, but see how you have to engage your core to hold yourself up in forearm plank. Keep that as you slowly, with control, lower the body down to the floor. Point the toes and lift up to a gentle Sphinx pose. Take a couple breaths, lifting the sternum up, facing forward. We're going to do half Bakasana. So the left forearm is going to turn across in front of you. It's going to stay down here in front of you, but across. You're going to bend your right foot, and then if you need to, you can even roll a little bit to the left side to reach back with this right hand and see if you can reach that foot. Okay? If you need to do it like even more rolling to the side to get there, you can go ahead and do that. And then gently check out, can you come all the way back down to face the floor again? What we're doing here first is just pulling that right heel down, okay? Keeping the legs together so the knees are right next to each other, just as if the legs were straight. Okay, you're not letting the right knee go out to the side or anything, keeping it straight and just hugging it down. If you can get really close to your body, you're going to try to get the knee, get the heel to come a little bit to the outside there. Now, you can feel the quad is stretching already. Try to face the floor, and maybe with your left forearm, push into the floor a little bit to lift the chest, and you'll feel even more of a stretch along the whole front of the body. But first, we're just keeping that right heel hugging in. Then we're going to switch, and now I'm going to try to kick my right foot away behind me, as if I want to put it back down on the floor. But my hand is holding it there, and that's going to lift my chest even more. So it's a little half bow position. I'm turning to look at the camera, but you shouldn't turn. You should look straight ahead if possible. Good. From here, you're really, really kicking that right foot back. Maybe you can lift the left arm up off the floor. If you need it there for support, you just keep it down. Good. And then release. Bring both hands forward and rest your head down for a moment. And we'll do the other side. So you're going to keep your right forearm down, then the left knee, and we're going to try to reach the left foot with the left hand. If you need to roll a little bit to the opposite side, you do that. Good. Just checking if anyone texted me. I'm assuming everyone's getting a good stream. I'm not sure. We'll find out later. So we're going to hug that left heel down and in. If it comes really close to the body, you're going to try to get it a little bit to the outside. Otherwise, the legs are staying right next to each other. Again, if you face the floor, push into that right forearm a little bit to lift the chest up a little bit. Excuse me. Good. And now I'm going to kick it away. You can keep the toes pointed the whole time, or when you go to your bow pose, you can flex the foot. As if I'm going to put that foot back down, and maybe the right arm reaches out in front. Or you can keep it on the floor for support. Good. And then release. Lower the head down and rest for a moment. Next, we're going to do one cobra. So when you're ready, slide the palms back either side of your lower ribs. Elbows are hugging in towards your sides. Think of when we lengthen the neck when we're about to do fish pose. You're going to think of that same length in the neck, shoulders rolling down and back, feet pressing down into the floor. Come up any height cobra that feels okay for you. Long neck. And then release right back down. Next, we're going to do one locust. We're actually going to do two locusts. I lied. Two. First one is just locust. The second one, you can do locust again, or you can take it to a full bow pose if you would like. Totally optional. So you're going to start with one locust. Again, neck is long, arms reaching back alongside you. Now everything's going to lift up off the floor. Legs, arms, head, chest, shoulders, everything. Good. And then release down and rest for a couple breaths. Second one, you can do the same thing, another locust or another locust variation that you like, that you know. Or you can do full bow pose. So we did half and half before. So full bow pose, you're going to bend both knees. Keep kicking my plant back there. Lift up and see if you can grab onto both ankles. Again, try to keep the knees close to each other. Okay, temptation is to let them kind of splay out to the side because it makes the feet get a little closer to you. All right, I know all the tricks to make things easier. And then lift up any amount into your bow or locust. Take one more breath and then release everything back down. And rest. You can wiggle the hips and legs side to side a little bit. Just releases the lower back a little bit. Another nice release here that I like to do after like bow pose or anything like that. Bend the knees again, but the legs are nice and relaxed now. You're not trying to do anything with them. Feet are relaxed. And you just kind of do a windshield wiper side to side with the lower leg. My dog is looking in the door at me. No, she can't come in. Okay, so from here, we're going to come back to child's pose. Okay, so push into the floor, lift up and back, and release the hips back towards the heels in your child's pose. And then from here, we're going to come all the way forward again and come to plank. So it's reaching the hands forward, bring the shoulders over your wrists, stretch one leg straight back and the other leg straight back to come to a high plank, and then finally full downward facing dog, hips up and back, and take a couple breaths there. You can also pedal out the feet a few times. Anything you like, just reaching back with those sitting bones. And then finally bend the knees a little bit and just walk the feet forward towards your hands. You can also walk the hands back towards your feet, coming to a soft forward fold. Feet are apart, knees are bent, and just dangle down over your legs. Okay, you can take a couple breaths holding opposite elbows and shaking out the head. Switch the fold at some point. Continue dangling over the legs. Release the arms, sit way back, okay? Your trunk might even be resting on the tops of your thighs. Sit way back. Sometimes from here, we can roll up to stand. If you like to roll up to stand, you can roll up. However, if you want to keep that spine long, you can place your hands on your legs and just push up and come to stand that way. Good. So finally coming all the way up to stand. I'm going to suggest grabbing your blocks and having them in front of you. And the rest of your props you might want to have handy, including the chair. You might be using it as well. So if you have a chair handy, I would say put it at the top of your mat. It can be on the floor at the top of your mat, but within reach. And then come to Tadasana, mountain pose, standing up nice and tall. Inhale the arms out to either side and all the way up. And then exhale, fold forward, reaching for the floor or your blocks or the seat of your chair, if that's a good height for you. Inhale halfway up, touch the fronts of your legs with your fingertips, and exhale all the way back down. Fingertips on the floor, or they could still be on the blocks, but don't have them on the highest height. Turn them like this or even lower. Or maybe you can have your fingertips all the way on the floor. Inhale the right leg back, long lunge, and exhale, release the right knee to the floor. Point the toes. Inhale up, crescent lunge, lifting, and then exhale right back down. Now you might need your blocks again here. We're going to come to Parsvottanasana. So you're going to tuck the back toes, straighten out that back leg, and then shift the hips straight back to try to straighten out that front leg. Now here's where I'm going to use the chair. So you can try this too. I'm going to move it in pretty close actually. So sometimes when we do Parsvottanasana, we think of folding down over this leg. Instead of folding down, we're going to reach forward. Okay, so the chair is a great prop for this. You can also do it on high blocks or anything that's the right height for you. The back heel can stay up, or you can place it down so the right foot angles out to the side. You're going to face square to this chair or forward, whatever props you're using, including the pelvis. Okay, so we're not turning open at all. From the pelvis up, I'm just going straight forward and just reaching, trying to lengthen the spine straight forward. So go ahead and take a couple breaths there. Good. Walk your hands back a little bit. They can still be on your chair. Bend to the front knee. We're going to come to warrior one. Okay, so check out, the back leg is straight. You might want to move it a little bit out to the right side so that when you come up, you can be square forward again. Hook the thumbs and inhale the arms up to your warrior one. We're going to stay here for a couple breaths, thinking of the arms reaching up and the legs pressing down. Okay, so we're again lengthening out the spine. Okay, and just go inside and feel, where is the midpoint? Part of you is reaching up, part of you is reaching down. Where's the midpoint? It's going to be different for everybody. No right or wrong answer. No wrong answer, I should say. Couple more breaths. Next, inhalation. Release the hands. Take a big circle out to each side with the arms. And then finally reach straight forward. Exhale. Straighten the front leg. And then on your inhale, you're going to take your right hand, circle it up and back as you come to warrior two. So opening up to face to the right side now. Maybe the right leg can be adjusted a little bit further back, depending on how you set up in the first place. Warrior one, two is a slightly longer pose than your warrior one. Finally getting all set. Check the left knee is going straight forward and look out over your left hand for a moment. It's handy to have the video screen because I can see what I'm doing. Good. Holding your warrior two, looking out over the left hand. Next, inhalation, straighten that front leg again, reach down the back leg, reverse triangle, and then exhale forward to extended side angle. So I'm facing the chest to the right. Left forearm comes onto this left thigh. You can just start with your right hand on your right hip like so. And then check out. Maybe you can put your hand down on a block, maybe on the floor. As long as you can keep the body in line with that back leg. Just take a couple breaths and check out. You can just look down at your own body. Okay, this is what you want to avoid doing. Having this pose and then bending way over to get the hand down. Okay? If this is your warrior two, then you just stay up here with your extended side angle. Okay, totally fine. From here, you can either reach the right arm up or you can reach it over the right ear. Look up underneath that arm though, towards the ceiling. Like you want to turn your chest up towards the ceiling. Good, and then finally release. Swivel onto the ball of the back foot. Both hands on the floor. And step that right foot forward. Don't bump your head on the chair. Coming back to your forward fold. Take a couple moments. And we're going to come up to stand the same way. If you want to roll up, you roll up. Otherwise, sit way back. Put your hands here. And stand up. My dog wants to come in. Let her come in. Let her come in. You want to come in? Come on. She pushed the door. She's knocking it down. Okay, so this is my dog. She's gonna do yoga with us. Okay, so you're back in your Tadasana at the front of your mat. Again, you're gonna have your blocks or chair in front of you. Inhale the arms out to either side and all the way up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Again, lengthening the spine forward and exhale, fold. Inhale, hands down on the floor or your blocks. Left leg straight back. Exhale, drop the left knee to the floor. Inhale, up crescent lunge. The dog's being naughty, so I'm getting something else to get rid of. And exhale, hands back down. She can stay in the room as long as she doesn't do that. So now we're going to come to our Parsvottanasana on this side. Again, the chair might be handy here or high blocks. When we come up, we're going to tuck that back foot, straighten out the back leg, and then straighten both legs. I have to keep a little micro bend in my front knee, especially because I hyperextend, right? So you might want to do that as well if that bothers you. Otherwise, you're going to face forward and reach the spine nice and long. You're using the seat of the chair or whatever props you have. You can be folded over the leg a little bit. That's totally fine if it feels okay to you, but we're not trying to fold. We're not trying to get down onto this leg or anything. We're reaching forward. You imagine that someone's holding onto your hand and pulling you nice and long. Good. Walk the hands back. Hands on the seat of the chair still if you want. We're going to come to warrior one. So bending the front knee, left leg maybe moves out to the left a little bit, facing forward, hook the thumbs, inhale up, warrior one. Again, thinking of reaching up through the arms, down through the legs, and observing, if you can feel sort of where that dividing line is between upper body moving up and lower body moving down. Couple big breaths. And then on an inhalation, release the hands, big circle out to each side with the arms. And finally, when you exhale, hands straight ahead. Straighten the front leg. And now we're going to come to warrior two, facing towards the left. The left hand is going to circle up and back. Inhale, bend the front knee, and find your warrior two on this side. Back leg straight. Turning to the left side, but without letting the right knee collapse in. Good. Holding your warrior two, looking out over your right hand. Good. Inhale, reverse triangle. Reach down the back leg, up and over with the right hand. And then come into your extended side angle on this side. Okay, so I'm going to angle myself differently because I'm turning away from you now. I want to turn this way. I'm turning towards my left. The right forearm is on the right thigh. And I'm just checking out, am I pretty much in line with that back leg? If not, I can adjust. Left arm can go straight up or over the left ear. And the right hand can go down to the block or the floor if that's in your range. Otherwise, you're just spinning the chest up towards the left, any amount. Good. And then finally, release, swivel onto the ball of the back foot, both hands down. You can have your hands on the floor or blocks, but put them on the low position, flat. We're going to step back to downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths, just stretching it back. Then drop both knees down and go back to child's pose. And take a few breaths in your child's pose. So, we've done a lot. We're going to do a few more active things, and then we'll start to move into a slightly more restorative sequence for the end. So we're going to come to sit down. So from your child's pose, walk your hands back, and then when you're sitting up, just sit off to one side and swing the legs around in front. So from here, just gonna have the legs straight in front of you. We're just going to do a little work in Navasana, couple moments. So this is boat pose. We're going to start by bending the knees. You're going to hook the hands right behind the knees and just lean back at the most 45 degrees. It's probably a little higher up than that. Keeping the trunk nice and long and straight still. So you're not rounding back at all, okay? Holding on here. I'm going to try to lift the heels up off the floor. From here, I'm going to look right in between your legs and try to straighten the legs up and reach the arms straight ahead. Holding yourself up, lifting the chest, head in line with spine. And then finally rebend the knees and put the feet back down. So remember that feeling of lifting the legs up in Navasana. We're going to revisit that feeling in a moment in our next pose, which is fish pose. Okay, so it is a supine pose, but it's a little bit active. It's not quite Shavasana yet. So what you're going to do is come to lie down on your back, If you know fish pose, then you can just listen to me and I'll talk you through it. If you don't know what it is, you're not sure, then you want to watch first because once you're lying down on your back, you can't really watch me. So you're going to come to lie down on your back or just watch me first, and I'm going to talk you through it as I do it, and then we'll do it again together. So as before, when you came to lie down at the very beginning, you're going to pick your pelvis up and tuck a little bit to make sure the lower back is lengthened, okay? So fish pose is a back bend, but it is not bridge, okay? The pelvis is gonna stay down, all right? Bridge, if you wanna do a bridge for a second to just really feel the difference, you lift here, you lift up. Pelvis and hips go up. Fish pose, this is gonna stay down. You're gonna be doing the back bend more in the upper spine. So you can start with the knees bent, arms right down alongside you. You can even think of the thumbs almost like tucking under the body a little bit. But make sure the neck is lengthened. You can even check like we did before with our fish pose, using the hands to traction up the neck a little bit. Okay, and the arms are reaching long. Okay, so don't, let them flop out in a bent position. They're reaching long, okay? Now, you're gonna keep the lower arm, the forearm, from the elbow to the fingers down. That's gonna stay down. You're gonna press down as you lift the chest. The head might come off the floor for a moment, and then you place the top of the head on the floor. Okay, so it's the same pose as we did with our props at the beginning of class, but you're using your own steam to get there. And then if you want, you can straighten out the legs again, but as we did before, keeping them active. Now, if you feel your head is firmly on the floor, you can try lifting the arms. If you feel like you could try, you can also lift the legs. Thinking like the arms and the legs are parallel. I can't see, so I have no idea, but I'm trying to think of them being parallel. Okay, that's Uttana Padasana. Or if you just want to stay in fish pose with everything down like so, you do that. To come out, push into the arms again to lift the head up, and then come all the way down. So I'm going to talk you through it again. If you were watching first and now you need to do it together with me. So lying down on the back, grab the back of the head. If you already did fish pose, you can do it again, or you can relax for a couple moments. Lengthen at the back of the head. If you have a ponytail or something going on, you might have to move it to the side or something. Knees bent at first, arms long, maybe even tucked underneath you a little bit on the thumb side. Oh, keep the knees bent at first. Now, you're going to think of pressing the forearm down. The upper arm is going to lift up off the floor. So you lift the chest up and tuck the head back. Okay, so the top of the head starts to come down towards the floor. And then if you want to, you could try straightening the legs. Take a couple big breaths before you do anything else. If you want to stay in fish pose, think of the lower jaw, which is now on top, moving out over, stretching out the front of the throat even more. And then if you want to try this variation, if the head is firmly on the floor, on a sticky mat, it's not going to move, you can lift the arms up, and you can try lifting the legs up, just like Navasana. It loads the lower back quite a lot, so don't do it if you feel a little iffy there. And then lower everything back down. Lift up the head up enough. You can untuck it and rest on your back for a few breaths. Bend the knees in. And then roll over onto your side again. And we're going to come up to sit and have a couple blocks close to you, or your stack of books. If you're using your books, maybe a folded blanket could go on top for padding in a moment. We're going to do a couple kind of variations of a pose called Janu Shirshasana. So we're going to do it in like a more soft or restorative uh, way at first. Now keep your right leg straight, bend in the left foot so the left foot touches the inner right thigh. This is our typical Janu Shirshasana position. But as I said, we're going to do a little bit more softly. You're going to fold a little bit inside that right leg. Okay, so if you have your blocks, you might want to put them in there for your hands. Again, thinking of the spine staying long, all right? If you feel like you're about to round in the spine, you just don't go any further. You keep, just stay right where you are. If you can go a little further without rounding too much, you can. It's totally fine. And take a couple more breaths. And now walk your hands back so you're sitting up. You're going to take that right leg and you're going to bend it in. Now, if it feels okay for you to come to close up that right knee joint quite a lot and put the right foot down really close to you. It's kind of it's like an Ardha Virasana position. If it feels okay, you're going to sit like that. If that is too tight, too close in, you can always just open up that right foot to the side a little bit more. And I just got to cramp myself trying to do that. Okay, so you just find a place for that right foot, either nice and close to you, or if you need it to be further away, you just let it go further away. So this front leg, now your left leg, is sort of like the front leg of a pigeon, only it's a much softer pigeon position than our usual pigeon pose. You're going to keep it flexed so the outer edge of the left foot is pressing down into the floor, and you're just going to fold over that left shin. If you have blocks, you can come down onto the blocks. If you can come down onto your forearms, you can do that. Again, just taking stock of how that feels for you. Nice and easy. Here, if you are really, really firmly on, say, your forearms, you can round the spine a little bit. Just a little. I'll allow a little bit this time. So from here, you're going to walk up. I'll walk the hands back to sit up. And we're going to keep the legs as they are. And now we're going to turn to the left. Okay? So now you're going to try to put your forearms down on the floor or on blocks going this way. So it's a twist, all right? Only we're coming to face the floor instead of lying on the back in our twist this time. Taking a couple breaths there. And then walking the hands back in again, sitting upright. You're going to take that right leg and bring it all the way around. So now the right knee is going up and the right foot tucks all the way to the outside of the left knee, okay, for a seated spinal twist. You can always straighten the bottom leg if that allows you to sit up straight. Either way, you're doing the same twist. Twist towards your right, looking around over the right shoulder. Checking to make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. You're not, rounding over this front knee, and you're not leaning back on the right hand. Just spiraling around, and then finally release. Undo your legs. We're going to do a few moments in Tarasana. So this is a restorative pose. And here's where you might use your blocks or your stack of books or put a blanket on top. I'm going to build a little tower with my blocks. The legs are in a diamond shape, but it's not too close in. So it's not Baddha Konasana. The feet are, whatever this is, like 2 feet away, okay? And you tuck this block right behind your heels, and then you just rest down. You can fold your arms as well and rest the head down. And you can round the back again a little bit here. If you need to stack up more to make it reasonable for you to do that, you just stack up more. Or if it's not working to fold forward, just sit up tall for a moment. We're going to move on to our other side anyway. So now we're going to come to our Janu Shirshasana on this side. Left leg straight out, and the right foot bends in to touch the inner left thigh. So again, slightly softer version of Janu Shirshasana. I forgot to say this on the other side. If this knee is kind of sticking up away from the floor, sometimes it's nice to have something underneath there for support. So you can always tuck a block or a blanket under there. Again, folding forward, but inside the left leg a little bit. Arms reaching forward, again, spine is long, folding the pelvis over the tops of your thighs. And then walk the hands back in. Now we're going to take that left leg and bring it back, bend the foot and bring it back behind us. You can tuck it in nice and close if that feels okay, like an Ardha Virasana, or it can be out a little bit to the side if you need. You can keep this under your foot, under the right knee, if that's helpful. Again, the right foot is flexed, so this is like a pigeon, much softer. If you feel like you got to do that pigeon today, go ahead and do it. I can't see what you're doing, so you can do whatever you want. But this is working out, the same area, but just much more gently than a full pigeon. Take a couple more breaths. Good. Coming up to sit again. Now we're going to go into our twist this way. You can come down onto your forearms or onto blocks, like so. Couple more breaths. Now for a seated spinal twist, you're going to take that left foot, bring the left leg all the way around and put it down on the floor outside the right knee. On the other side, you can always do this with the legs, the bottom legs straight. Twisting around to your left now, wrap the arm around in front, keep the spine nice and vertical, and twist around. And then slowly release, facing forward, and finally come down onto your back. Once again. Hug both knees in. And we're finally going to do our full happy baby position. So from here, keep the knees hugged in nice and tight, but you can let them separate a little bit, like you're trying to pull them up towards the shoulders on each side. Keep them in as close as you can. Just slide the hands underneath. Then keep pulling with the hands as you lift the feet up. Okay? You can keep holding on here, or you can hold on to the outer edges of the feet. So think of happy baby as being sort of like a squat position, right? So sometimes, a lot of time people try to hold the inner edges of the feet, and then it becomes sort of like a Baddha Konasana. Nothing wrong with doing a Baddha Konasana like this. Okay, sometimes I might do that, but it's very different. It's a very different feeling from your happy baby, like a squat. So try to just notice the difference. It's always okay to do something in a different way, as long as you know you, that it is different and you know why you're doing it. So slowly release and bring the feet back down to the floor. Okay, from here, we're going to do a supine twist. Cross the right knee over the left. Okay, the knees are right next to each other. Okay, so at first it just looks like a casual, like hanging out on the beach position. You can do the twist like this, or if you'd like to wrap the legs like an eagle pose, you take the right foot and wrap it behind the left calf. Totally not necessary to do that, but if you want to, you can try. You're going to let the legs go over to your left side and then release the right hand back to the floor behind you. The right palm can be up, or if it's a little too much on your shoulder, you can turn the palm down and just work on getting this right knee down to the floor or going towards the floor. Stay there for a couple more breaths. And then slowly roll onto your back again. And unwrap the legs. And fold and bring the left knee on top of the right. Same thing. And keep the legs just like this to do your twist, or you can wrap the left foot behind the right calf. And then let the legs fall over to your right, reaching back to the left with this left arm, palm up or palm down. And looking away from the direction your legs are going. Couple more breaths and then slowly roll onto your back again. We're going to do a few moments in Supta Baddha Konasana. And this is a good place to use either blocks or those big, thick books. You don't have to use books or props at all, but a lot of people like them. So you're going to lie down first before you put your legs into Baddha Konasana. So you're going to be lying down. Again, a little bit of that tuck of the pelvis. Make sure the lower back is lengthened. Have your blocks either side of you. Then bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall apart. So this is your Supta Baddha Konasana. If you feel happy in this pose, like it is, you don't have to do anything. But some people prefer to have the blocks underneath the outer legs. So I like to turn them. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm turning them and they're catching on my sticky mat so that the block, my legs are resting against the flat surface of the block, not the corner. A little nicer, okay, if you can get that going. If you have foam blocks or you're using like a couple blankets or something like that, it should be pretty comfortable. But I have cork blocks, so the edge is a little bit tough. So we're just going to stay here for a few breaths. And just like at the beginning of class, bringing the awareness to the breath. Close your eyes and just again observe your breath. Again, without judging or wondering why it's not doing something different. You're just observing what is actually going on with your breath, whatever that may be. And then start to notice how it's different from the beginning of class. There's no right or wrong answer to how that should be. Maybe it's exactly the same. Maybe it's completely different. Maybe it's somewhere in this middle, like a little bit similar or a little bit different. Again, just taking the opportunity to be interested in your breath. From here, we will be going to Shavasana, final relaxation. If you want to do your Shavasana in this pose, in Supta Baddha Konasana, you can just stay there. You don't have to move at all. If it's super comfortable, there's no need to move. A lot of people really like Supta Baddha Konasana, and you can do it for your Shavasana. If you prefer a more traditional Shavasana position, we're going to do that. We're going to move very, very slowly into that. So, what you'll do is to come out of Supta Baddha Konasana, reach down with your hands and use your hands to help fold the legs together. Okay, so you're not just using the leg muscles to bring them together. Now, I like to use, if I have something like this, a roll like this, I like to use this under my knees. Okay, so from where you were, if you have the blocks, you can move them out to the side. Then bend the knees up and put a roll, it could be a rolled blanket underneath your legs, so that when you lie back, it's right behind the knee or a tiny bit above maybe. Whatever feels good. And then come to lie all the way back for Shavasana. Now, again, I always do this. You might not feel that you need to. A little bit of the tuck of the pelvis again. If you lie back and you feel like your lower back is kind of arched up off the floor in like an exaggerated way, you can always do that little bit of a tuck of the pelvis and then straighten out the legs. Now the legs will relax, feet roll open, turn the palms up. If you feel like anything else you need, go ahead and grab it so you can be really, really super comfortable. And then we'll just rest for a few minutes. Start with a few centering breaths in your Shavasana. Close the eyes and inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth, very softly and gently. Continue a few more times with your centering breath. Letting the breath naturally slow down as you rest. After a few more times of your centering breath, go ahead and go back to breathing in and out through the nose. The mouth can actually stay relaxed, so it might actually stay open. You don't have to clamp the lips shut or anything, but just keep the breath moving in and out through the nose. Otherwise, releasing any other unnecessary effort. Feeling the support of the floor underneath you. Taking your time to scan through the body, finding any holding, any tension, anything you're gripping or grasping, and then see if you can let that go. And then the same thing in the mind. Scan. Is there anything you're holding onto in the mind? Some storyline that you're very, very invested in. See if you can let that go as well. If you go back to it, just notice that you're going back to it. If it's some super important thought about something you have to do later, notice that you're thinking that and then let it go. If it is truly that important, you will remember it later. Letting the breath be soft and natural. I'm going to speak very softly as I end the live stream. Namaste. Thank you so much. It's been a true pleasure. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Please give me some comments and feedback later if you like. If you're in a nice, cozy shavasana, please stay there for as long as you like. That's the beauty of practicing at home. You can kind of just do your own thing instead of having to jump up and leave the studio. So please rest and be well and be safe. I love you all. Namaste. See you soon.